Tammy Slaton is showing off her new face following her excess skin removal. Cool, almost formal. Their exchanges lack the impulsive teasing and emotional shorthand that defined earlier seasons of 1000-lb Sister. Even neutral topics carry an undercurrent of caution. When siblings begin choosing words carefully, it signals not resolution, but fragility. Neither appears eager to revisit past arguments, yet the absence of repair work leaves tension suspended rather than settled. Tammy's evolution continues to play a critical role in this dynamic. Her pursuit of employment, daily routine, and relationship stability with Andrea present an image of forward momentum. Importantly, this progress has come with stronger boundaries. Tammy's conversations suggest a growing awareness of what environments and interactions disrupt her stability. That awareness, while healthy for her personally, reduces the emotional flexibility she once had for family volatility. This is where the emotional trajectories of the sisters quietly diverge. Amy appears to be reacting to stress by expanding outward, planning a new life chapter, redefining her priorities, and focusing on future change. Tammy, by contrast, is reacting by narrowing her circle, protecting her progress, minimizing conflict, and conserving emotional energy. Both approaches are valid coping strategies, yet they move in opposite directions, making reconnection more complicated. Family events during this period highlight the strain without directly confronting it. Group scenes often include long pauses, topic shifts, and side conversations that avoid central tensions. Chris continues to function as a stabilizing presence, using humor and practicality to keep interactions from escalating. However, even his usual ability to diffuse discomfort shows limits. His own household pressures with Brittany's dietary transition mean he is juggling stress on multiple fronts. Brittany's effort to eliminate soda, framed as a requirement for weight loss surgery eligibility, becomes a surprisingly revealing subplot. Behavioral changes tied to health can affect mood, routine, and household dynamics. Scenes involving her and Chris illustrate how personal health goals ripple through relationships, creating short tempers, moments of fatigue, and emotional sensitivity. This mirrors the broader family atmosphere. Everyone is working toward improvement, yet the process itself generates tension. Amanda's health concerns continue to shape the emotional backdrop of the season. Her willingness to discuss medical uncertainties brings a sobering tone to family gatherings. In a show that began as a journey toward physical transformation, the reminder of ongoing health risks underscores the seriousness beneath the entertainment. It also reframes some of the emotional distance between Amy and others. When energy is divided between medical anxiety and family conflict, emotional resources thin quickly. Within this environment, Amy's public demeanor becomes increasingly layered. She speaks about the future with determination, but her expressions often suggest fatigue. Experts who study stress patterns in high-visibility individuals note that life changes often cluster. Relationship transitions, family conflict, career pressure, and parenting responsibilities rarely occur in isolation. Amy appears to be navigating all of these simultaneously. The result is not dramatic breakdown, but gradual depletion. One of the most telling shifts in this stage of 1000-lb Sister is the change in how Amy discusses support. Earlier seasons frequently showed her leaning on siblings during emotional lows. Now, she speaks more about managing on her own, making her own choices, and not wanting to be judged. Independence can signal growth, but when it emerges during unresolved conflict, it can also indicate withdrawal born from frustration or hurt. Tammy, meanwhile, seems less reactive to Amy's emotional state than in the past. Where she once might have engaged, argued, or attempted reconciliation, she now maintains a measured distance. Her body language in shared scenes, composed posture, limited eye contact during sensitive topics, quick exits from emotionally charged conversations, suggests a deliberate effort to avoid being pulled back into familiar cycles. This mutual distancing creates a paradox at the heart of the season. Both sisters are becoming stronger in different ways. Yet that very strength makes the old version of their bond harder to maintain. Growth does not always move people closer together. Sometimes it highlights incompatibilities that were previously masked by shared struggle. Producers frame these developments through subtle editing choices. Longer reaction shots, quieter background music during family scenes, and extended moments of silence after emotionally loaded comments. These techniques reinforce the sense that viewers are watching a family in transition rather than a temporary disagreement. For the broader narrative of 1,000-Pound Sister, this period represents a structural shift. The show's early identity centered on mutual dependence, collective goals, and the idea that the sisters' journeys were inseparable. Season 8 suggests a new reality, individual paths that intersect less frequently and with more caution. The emotional stakes remain high, but they are no longer rooted in shared survival. Instead, they revolve around whether personal reinvention can coexist with family connection. As Season 8 of 1,000-Pound Sister progresses toward its deeper emotional arc, the central theme becomes impossible to ignore. This is a season about consequences. Not dramatic, one-episode consequences, but the slow, lived results of years of shared history, unresolved pain, personal growth, and changing identities. By the time the story reaches this stage, the question is no longer whether Amy Slayton's world is shifting. It is how permanent those shifts may be. Amy's journey now sits at the intersection of transformation and isolation. On paper, the milestones in front of her look like progress. A wedding, plans for a new chapter, decisions made independently. These are traditionally framed as positive turning points, yet the emotional context surrounding them complicates that narrative. Major life changes feel different when they occur during family fracture. Instead of celebration being shared, it becomes compartmentalized. Instead of joy being amplified, it is processed alone. Throughout these later developments, Amy presents a composed front, but the emotional subtext remains heavy. Her conversations continue to emphasize moving forward, setting boundaries, and refusing to live under constant scrutiny. There is strength in those statements, but also fatigue. Emotional resilience often comes with a cost, especially when built under pressure. The version of Amy viewers now see appears determined, yet guarded. Someone who has learned to protect herself by limiting how much access others have to her vulnerability. Tammy's position solidifies in parallel but separate fashion. Her focus on stability, work aspirations, and her relationship with Andrea reinforces a pattern that has been building all season. Tammy is choosing predictability over emotional intensity. This shift marks one of the most significant character evolutions in the history of 1,000-Pound Sister. Where chaos once followed her, she now avoids it. Where emotional reactions once drove her scenes, she now pauses, considers, and steps back. This evolution has an unintended side effect. The sisters' old dynamic relied on shared emotional extremes. Laughter, arguments, tears, reconciliation. Without those highs and lows, their connection must be rebuilt on calmer ground. That process requires communication, patience, and mutual willingness. What the season shows instead is caution on both sides. Each appears wary of reopening wounds, yet the avoidance of direct repair leaves emotional distance in place. The broader family landscape continues to reinforce how stretched everyone is. Chris remains the steady presence, but even his stabilizing influence cannot bridge every gap. His household stress with Brittany's health efforts, Amanda's medical concerns, and the ongoing responsibilities shared among siblings create an environment where emotional energy is scarce. Support exists, but it is fragmented, often delivered in practical ways rather than emotional ones. Amanda's openness about her health becomes a quiet, emotional anchor. Her vulnerability reminds the family and viewers that time and health are not abstract issues. When real medical concerns enter the picture, disagreements feel smaller, yet also more urgent to resolve. The contrast between physical fragility and emotional distance gives the season a reflective tone. The stakes are not only about relationships lasting, but about cherishing time while it is available. Group scenes during this phase of the story often carry a layered feeling. Surface-level normalcy with underlying awareness that things are not fully repaired. Conversations flow, but rarely deepen. Jokes land, but are shorter-lived. There is a sense that everyone is doing their best to coexist peacefully, even if true closeness has not returned. For Amy, the long-term implications of this period are significant. Independence can be empowering, but sustained emotional isolation can also be draining. Balancing personal reinvention with motherhood, public attention, and family expectations places her in a uniquely demanding position. Her determination to create a new path is clear. The uncertainty lies in how much of her old support system will walk that path alongside her. For Tammy, the challenge is different. Growth has brought stability, but it also requires redefining how she connects with family without reverting to old patterns. Maintaining boundaries while still nurturing relationships is delicate work. Her calm exterior suggests progress, yet the absence of open reconciliation leaves her bond with Amy in an unresolved state. The most striking aspect of this stage in 1,000-Pound Sister is what does not happen. There is no dramatic, televised moment where everything is fixed or definitively broken. Instead, viewers are left with something more realistic and, in many ways, more poignant. A family in transition where love still exists but must find new forms to survive change. Season 8 ultimately frames Amy Slayton's downfall not as a single event, but as a period of emotional overload. Multiple life shifts converging at once. Whether this phase becomes a stepping stone to a stronger, more balanced future or a turning point toward lasting separation remains open. What is clear is that the family unit at the heart of 1,000-Pound Sister is evolving. The old version of their bond cannot simply